Hello, everybody. Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to be watching season 1, episode 2 of Nailed It. That's on Netflix. If you guys have it, the episode title is Fantasyland.
This is Uncouth Tangents. I'm your host, B.
And I'm your host, Dove.
And welcome to the show. It's pretty great. I recommended it because it had a bunch of my favorite contestants on the show.
You know these people?
Yeah, no, I know them personally. I've been to their food trucks, and no, I don't know these people at all.
Oh, man. Oh, so what is it? They just pick like a group of ragtag people?
It feels like they just picked them from Craigslist. So, because I like that they're just kind of regular people. Like, they're not like the best chefs that you'll see from Chopped, or like nobody is cocky. Nobody's like, I mean, they have this feigned confidence, like, oh, I'm going to do really well because I have this and I have this going for me. And then you see their stuff and it's like,
yeah, so they're like,
I've seen people at a church bake sale do better than you.
Oh, man, a church bake sale?
Yeah.
That shit is legit.
Yeah, well, maybe that's not a fair comparison then.
I'm just saying that they understand the concept of if you're going to give out baked goods to people, they're going to have to look good and taste good.
Yeah,
These
definitely.
people here, so we have 3 contestants. We got this flamboyant kind of older guy who I initially just upon just first impression of looking at him, I didn't expect anything great from him. And then the second person was the grandma, which I really
I love.
The
She's my favorite character in the
one
entire
that I had
series.
as being the winner, the one that I pegged as being the winner, because she's a grandma. I mean, you should be. I mean, how many more years?
What happens when you follow stereotypes?
I'm just saying, how many years of baking should she have under her belt? So
I mean, not all grandmas bake all the time. I mean, she may have just picked it up.
Mine did not. Mine was not the cooking, baking grandma.
Yeah.
She did
So
not
apparently
make
neither
cookies.
of this one.
Well, yeah, but she claimed to be a baker. My grandmother
true.
never did. She wore jeans and watched boxing. That was her thing.
That's right.
And then the third contestant was someone who actually owns a food truck. And so I was kind of nervous being, we knew what the show was going into it. So I was kind of nervous what she would produce because she actually has a food truck. So at that point, you have to do a good job. You've invested so much money in your craft.
Well, they didn't really necessarily say what kind of food truck. So maybe she's a good chef, but maybe not a good baker.
Oh, you mean like her job on the food truck? Well, she could just be the business owner. She could just be really savvy at business. But
she could also just be the janitor. I don't know.
No, that's not how that works. So anyway, she does have a food truck, and it's a baked goods food truck. And so we just watched the first section of it where they had to reproduce pirate donuts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one was a bit of a mess, I would say.
First of all, the lady with the food truck, she didn't even have a hairnet on. She had this.
Well, no one has hairnets on this show.
But she had like the most hair. She had
that's
long
true.
hair in 2 braids that went way past her waist.
Yeah, and they could get caught easily
they're
in
using
everything.
A fryer
yeah,
and all types of shit. That's
I'm so surprised there isn't like
unsanitary.
fried hair
Yeah,
in the donuts.
It could be. So that was probably the grossest thing that I saw. And so,
Well, no, I would say this runs up pretty close to it. Is just the grandma with the motor oil hands and just like really working the fondant.
I became so disappointed.
When she did that,
Just in everything, every choice that she made, I was disappointed in the choice.
making donut holes. Wait a second.
Yeah, she started. Okay, so her donut was a pirate man, and it was no hole in the donut at all. Yet she spent so much time trying to push a hole into this dough. She wasn't even looking at the product that she was supposed to be making. But the good thing about that was that she recognized her mistake.
Hopefully soon.
And then she was able to move on from it.
So if you've never seen this show before, it's set up kind of like a regular food cooking competition show where you're given a task and you gotta kind of recreate that thing, and that's what these guys had to do. And yeah, the grandma got the pirate guy. The food truck lady got a donut map, like
So
little,
one of those long
yeah, those like
donuts.
eclair kind of
Oh
style
yeah,
donuts,
yeah.
and it had like a treasure map on it. And the flamboyant guy got the, what was it?
It was a
The pirate
squarish.
flag.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
was a
kind of
squarish
squarish,
shaped.
but they were all like filled donuts, so they had to kind of fill them as well. And
Oh
you saw
man. The
you
worst
got really
technique
upset at
was
the
the
food
I
truck lady.
did. I mean, I got upset at everybody with well, I guess not so much the guy, but the grandma was the I was so disappointed. She used a spoon and she was spooning the jelly
I mean, it
into
produced some pretty
the
decent
dough.
results.
It would have if she would have baked it properly, like all the way through. Like no one knew how to use a fryer. They were throwing things into the fryer and then using spoons to fish it out. The fryer has its own basket, to lift and lower. That's the whole mechanism.
It's odd how unfamiliar they are with all kitchen appliances,
Yes,
because even the lady's using the back end of a spoon to like poke
to
holes and
stab the
mix,
hole in her.
to stab the holes and
In
to like
her
mix the
donut.
things together, like just
Oh yeah,
not
a lot of plastic spoons were used. It was
definitely.
awful. Oh, and the lady that owned the food truck, she had the right idea of where she used a piping bag
Hmm.
and the tip in order to get it into the donut, but she had the tip
On
kind
the
of wrong on the
outside,
outside,
yeah.
so it was a danger of it falling into the donut. But
Oh, it
luckily
definitely
it
fell
didn't.
in.
Oh, I
She
like
dug it out,
well,
but
luckily it didn't stay in there. It didn't stay in there. So I think the guy was the only one that got that part kind of okay.
what I find like the education aspect of this show is that they actually show you how to do it properly. And actually, I never thought to even use pizza dough as a donut dough. So I thought that was kind of neat about the show in general, because it's not just, hey, look at these idiots making something. You're actually like, oh, okay, so maybe like I could learn something from this show as
I
well.
guess they kind of gave him like the low budget version of the
They
ingredients
made
that
it
they would
very
have.
hard. I Okay, so another thing I don't understand is why there's a tasting part, because everybody's has the same materials. It's like the only way you could go wrong is if, yeah, you
You undercook
undercooked
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess they were trying to be fair
Hmm.
and in the same type of I guess setup as a real cooking show of where all of them have the tasting at the
Yeah,
end.
that's
So
true.
I guess they were trying to just follow what everyone else kind of does. And so towards the end of that challenge, oh man, that grandma was she was so
She was pretty
awful.
salty about the whole
She
thing.
was
Like,
so awful. I just got so upset.
well, I mean, she got upset too, because like everybody's like, "Why are you talking about theirs? Why
Oh,
why aren't you talking about mine?"
you know why? Because yours needs to go into the bin.
Yeah, hers ended up looking quite awful. It was just like a
Oh, it
black
was so
smash of
bad.
stuff.
Yeah, they had to mix their own dye
Hmm.
for the I guess the donut glaze or something like that.
Yeah,
And even though her donut had the black cap and the black shoes and other black items, she just got that black color in everything.
yeah. She didn't use gloves, and she's wearing so many rings and a band-aid. Like, I think she obviously like cut herself off screen that they didn't
Gross.
show. So like, yeah, there's definitely that part to it. And she's got all these rings, and it's just going everywhere. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a gross looking pile of crap that she has on her plate. Granted, like everybody has about an hour, so I wonder if like sometimes the time constraints freak people out. So
Oh, absolutely. I think
yeah,
my hands would be shaking. I would be dropping things, knocking things over. But at the same time, the flamboyant guy, he ended up getting the best decoration.
yeah, but he also failed on his cooking of the donut.
Yeah,
He didn't
if he
like
would
let
have
it
cooked
rise
it,
at
yeah.
all.
If he, oh yeah, his technique was awful. I think none of them had a really good technique when it came to actually cooking and prepping the donut itself. Like you have to let it rise,
Yeah.
and they didn't give it enough time.
Well, like there's also like the kneading aspect of it. Like you should probably knead your dough and like work it a little to make sure that it's like even and everything.
Yeah, maybe, possibly. They
But
they had the pre-made dough, so I don't know.
the chocolatier chef was saying that that's why it was undercooked in the middle, is because it didn't get kneaded out and spread out throughout.
Oh, okay. I thought that they had underproved it
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know to do that either, to be fair.
To
but
prove your dough?
yeah, because I'm not a baker. So
okay.
yeah, there's like things that I'm learning as well. Like, oh, okay, need the dough. But these are guys who are saying they're bakers. And
Oh yeah, when she said, "I'm a chocolatier too,"
I'm like,
and
oh
they
no, you're
showed the
not.
side by side
Yeah, I was like,
picture.
that's
Oh,
bad. It's
it
like
was
some
just a.
poor like Nokia phone photo.
Oh, it was just no, it wasn't. I mean, even if it would have been a great quality, probably was better that it wasn't good quality
Yeah.
because, oh, that chocolate, it was just like all the colors were mixed together. It wasn't distinct colors and distinct shapes. It
Yeah.
was more like blobs in a
It
box.
was seriously just another mess. Like the show is just
Oh,
based on messes,
who
hot
are
messes
these
that people make.
people?
You know, the stereotype of that person who says they know a lot of stuff and they're like, yeah, I'm really good at this or whatever. And then you see them do that thing and it turns out they're awful at it. They have no reason to be cocky about it at all.
That's this entire
This
show.
is the entire show, I feel. Because later on the line, there's like a person who has like a law degree and they're like, I'm a lawyer. I have a PhD. Why am I not so good at this baking thing? And it's just boggling their mind that they might not be good at something.
Wow.
Yeah, the show gets pretty fun and entertaining. So that's the first half, and we're about to get into the second half.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
did we say who the lineup was? So in this first round, the winner was the food truck lady.
Oh yes,
Because,
that's right.
yeah, because even though her decorating was shit, it wasn't as bad as the grandma, and she cooked her donut all the way through.
Yeah, she was the only one who cooked her donut all the way through.
Right. So second place was the guy.
Yeah.
Who his decoration was definitely the best, but his donut was undercooked. And then the grandma just failed on all cylinders. Her decoration was shit. Her donut was undercooked.
She got the most filling in.
She
Because
did.
she spooned it in.
Good job on that, at least. Damn it, grandma! Oh,
Oh,
so upset.
she'll make you so proud this next round. So we're gonna take a break, and then we'll come back after watching the second half.
Holy fuck!
So, what did you think of their creations?
Basically, my reaction every time they turned around their cake. So in this round, they had to make a tower. It was basically Rapunzel in a castle, and it had a dragon at the bottom
And there was a knight
with a knight
Yeah.
on the side of the castle wall, kind of guarding it.
It's like a 3-tier cake
Yeah.
with like Rice Krispie like not shingles, like a tower, like the cone piece of the
the
tower.
very top of it
Yeah,
was
the very
the Rice
top of it
Krispie
was the Rice
treats.
Krispie treats.
Oh man! So first of all, that the guy didn't even add eggs to his cake.
Yeah, he basically just made bread.
That cake was so crusty. Like that is like one of the first things that you learn as a baker. It's like the proper ingredients that go into a cake.
Yeah, usually like you have a checklist of things of what you need. I mean, I've
Very
seen
basic.
it. I've seen it on Chopped. Like there are some chefs who are just like they go through the list and they forget something because they're just trying to speed through it. Granted, the guys on Chopped have like half an hour to make like a 4-course meal.
Yeah.
So it's or 4 dishes, and these
Yeah.
guys just have to make like one thing.
The pressure on Chopped
Yeah.
is intense. Not to say that these people here wouldn't
It's
feel
scaled
the same
back.
feelings.
It's scaled back a little for the right amount of skill.
Oh,
But yeah, like
man.
there's things that happen where you just forget, and that's what happened to this guy. He just was trying to go through it so quickly, and he forgot eggs, and yeah,
Wow.
that
And
just
so
sucks.
his decoration skills for this one, he did okay with decorating the first time.
Hmm.
But for this one, oh man, his cake was leaning over.
Yeah,
The
was-
decoration his knight wasn't even a knight. He just put 3 marshmallows stacked on top of each other.
he colored them gray, like a suit of armor. They weren't even sparkly; it was just gray.
I
Like
don't think he had a dragon on his either.
it was like it was a red. There was red stuff on the side of his castle.
Red stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was just I don't know if it was like more of a mural of a dragon or if it was like an
Oh.
actual like Rice Krispie dragon or something like that.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Either way, he was awful.
Yeah, he messed up on a bunch of different aspects of his cake. What did you think of Amanda's cake, the grandma lady?
Oh, the grandma lady. So I liked the hair that she created. So they had to recreate the Rapunzel in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, none of their cakes looked as if the princess was peering out of a castle window. It looked like the princess became the castle. So it was just like a castle with a face on it.
That's true. Yeah.
But the grandma, she at least had the golden hair coming down the castle, just like the original cake did.
I will say I did think the guy was kind of inventive in shortcutting time by using the fruit roll-up strips, because he used the rainbow strips for hair.
That candy.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, but his execution was also bad on that. It could have been a saving grace, but his skill wasn't at the level to actually fix it.
And it made it look worse because just the colors.
And the sugar was just everywhere because it still had the raw sugar that was just on it from it just being a candy.
Oh, wow. So back to the grandma. She at least, when they tasted her cake, she at least had the best tasting cake.
Yeah, I think that's where her skill shined, just being a grandma, like a baking grandma.
She did say that too. She was like, I know how to make a cake.
God damn it. She also fell in love with the chef. The French chef.
Yeah.
She just had this romance. She was making fun of his accent at first, which I always think it's hilarious when people with accents make fun of other people with accents.
She said, these Rice Krispies not cooperating. I don't think you can make fun of anyone else if that's how you pronounce it. Oh, wow. So moving on to the final person.
Who finally got a hairnet of sorts. Unfortunately, it was a glitter hat.
Yeah, that was part of her prize for the first part. They gave her a glittered chef hat, and glitter was flying everywhere.
Yeah, if you have an HD TV, you could actually see, as soon as she puts on the hat, glitter is flying everywhere.
So she keeps it on
for
the duration of the time that she's baking, and so I'm pretty sure that everything is tainted with glitter.
Yeah, I'm surprised the cake wasn't crunchier than everybody expected.
Oh, well, hers was a little overdone. She had quite a few issues with her cake. First of all, she overfilled the cake pans, and so when she opened up the oven, it was just tons of cake.
They looked like mushrooms
at the bottom of the oven because it had overflowed and spilled out.
I mean, she was able to salvage that.
Yeah, you can cut the top off to level it out, but it was still kind of overdone. Which isn't as bad as the guy who just didn't add the eggs and made bread.
Yeah, his as soon as you see him cutting his just to level it off, you see it crusting like a hearty Italian bread, which is not how cake should be.
Exactly.
Like those French baguettes, there's just you feel that crunch and it just cuts the roof of your mouth.
Pieces flying when he was cutting into it. Oh, and so one part that I did like about this competition is they gave the person in last place the ability to freeze time.
Yeah.
For what was it, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could freeze time for 3 minutes, and also for the last round, each person was given a panic button.
Which 2 of them didn't use.
No, they seemed to be fine. They should have. I would have, if I was them, I would have used the panic button in the very beginning. So the panic button says that a chef can come over and help you for 3 minutes. I would have used that panic button in the first 3 minutes, or when they were building their cake, so that my cake would have a strong foundation to start with. Or maybe even the last 3 minutes when it came to decorating, so that it could have a nice finish or something like that.
Yeah, like anything that they could help salvage with.
Right, so I was happy that the grandma was able to remember that this technology was there, and she used the panic button. But then when the French guy came over, they were just flirting with each other, so she wasted her time. She just wasted her time. She didn't get any help with her cake. So it sucked.
Well, she was just so starstruck with his wonderful French accent and wit. I actually really like that guy too. I have a bit of a crush on him also.
You do too.
Jacques.
You have anime heart eyes for the guy.
I kind of do, yeah.
And so the other thing that they had was the freeze time. So the grandma had this, and so she used it, but she took her sweet ass time walking all the way to the back. She ran out all of her 3 minutes just walking to the back to go get something.
She still stopped them for 3 minutes.
Yes,
she stopped herself too.
God damn it. Just wanted her to move a little faster. It was so crazy because when this whole show started, in the beginning, she was the first one to move out of her place to go and rush.
Yeah,
to
for the
For the
donuts.
donuts.
Yeah.
And then when everything really starts, she's the slowest person that there is. I mean, she is a grandma, so I wouldn't expect her really to move fast. But I wanted her to at least like move her arms. Like it's as
Nope,
if she's
just
going
a
fast.
slow moving
Even if her
glacier.
legs couldn't do it, just move your arms really fast.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
So when they completed it, who is it? The food truck lady had
Yeah.
like the hilarious like face on
Oh
hers.
my gosh, her decoration was the worst.
It wasn't the worst.
No, her person was creepy.
Oh, the person,
The
yeah.
princess was the creepiest.
She gave the best voice for
She
it though.
did.
Hi guys.
Exactly how the princess looked like she would talk. Oh,
But
man.
I think my favorite thing about the show in general is how positive they all are for each other, generally speaking. Like they may trash talk each other, but it's never to the point that like Cutthroat Kitchen or
Oh yeah.
Chopped can be sometimes. Like there's like huge personalities on those shows. And in this one everybody's fairly humble so far that I've seen.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, and even the judges, like, they could cut down, they could rip on them so much harder, but you
Yeah.
know, they're they're at least willing to sandwich their things. Like, there's like you did this good on your cake, but this is also hilarious and bad and all this stuff. All right, but continue on because you know you can strive to do better. Like they try to bookend it with something
Yeah.
good to say in
So,
general.
so they purposefully didn't get Gordon Ramsay or Aaron Sanchez to be the judge of this.
Yeah, no, those guys can cut down when they want to.
Tomatillos.
It's tomatillo. He always has to overpronounce things. I feel like sometimes I wonder if you really are Spanish.
Of course he is. And that's how he's letting you know. Like, I don't want
You
anyone to
have
confuse me
to.
for anything else.
It's a tortilla. Did you have to say that? Okay, I get it, asshole. All right.
You know what? I prefer that a lot better than someone that's going to call it a tortilla. Don't do that shit.
I'd like some tortillas with my fajitas.
Oh, man. I actually have a true story. I was dating this one guy, and we pulled up to the Taco Bell. And he said,
Oh, Taco Bell, very
oh,
fancy.
this was a long time ago back in the day. He said, yeah. Can I get the quesadillas? I said, oh, I'm out of this car. You got to just get out.
Get out.
Just
I gotta go. I gotta leave.
Quesadillas.
Quesadillas.
No, I would prefer Aaron Sanchez.
Can you imagine him at the Taco Bell window?
Absolutely not, for no reason at all. I can't. No.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Can I get the Crunch Wrap Supreme? Supreme. Supreme.
What, Aaron Sanchez?
Aaron Sanchez?
See.
Si.
Oh, well, either way, the food truck lady, she ended up winning.
Yeah.
Because her cake, even though it was a little bit overdone, it wasn't trash like the guy's was.
And she had moderately better.
Yeah, she had won the first one, so she was already kind of a little above everyone else to begin with.
Well, she also had a moderately better looking overall cake because she did have the
Not
dragon.
that princess. Oh, yeah, she was
She
the
had-
only one that actually did have a dragon.
And I think a knight.
I think
she had a
Grandma
knight.
had a knight, too, or a blob of some kind.
Yeah,
Great
she had a blob.
The guy was the only one that didn't
You know, he was like,
produce a
this
body
is,
form.
This is a deconstructed knight. No, those are marshmallows,
Yeah.
guy. That's not.
Yeah, you can't fool me, even though they're gray. Oh, that was a great show. Thanks for recommending it.
Yeah, I thought you would love it just because of your love of cooking and tiny foods and just people making stuff like
I love all that shit.
all the Pinterest kind of
Yeah.
bakery stuff, and this show kind of plays on that, but it also is kind of a parody and joke on other shows. My favorite other part of the show is Wes, the assistant director who has to like wheel stuff out, and how the main host gets irritated at him, like, Wes, where the hell are you? Like, bringing stuff out, and he's just like, whatever, this is just paying the bills. So yeah, there's a ton of fun aspects to this show, and I've watched the same episode over and over again because I keep showing this around to everybody, and it's only the second episode, so it's still hilarious every time I see it.
It is definitely a frustrating show to look at because watching people do dumb shit like not add the eggs to the batter or just like their decorative skills or lack thereof.
Or just mix. Oh man, Amanda, the way she was just mixing the Rice Krispie treats with
Oh
her
yeah,
hands
with her
again.
hand.
Yeah, she's
She
just
needed
anything
some
she does with her
WD-40.
hands.
Yeah, that's a
Anything
real
she does,
grandma.
yeah.
They do everything with their hands.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
gloves. My grandma used to open up the oven door like right in front of her face, reach in without any oven mitts on, grab the pan. She's just like, ah, and then just take it out of the oven, put it on top of the
Is this
stove.
like the beginning of Kung Fu? Like where you
Maybe. Is that why I know Kung Fu? All of my grandma's teachings? Oh, I just realized it now.
Oh.
Secret teachings from grandma. Kung Fu grandma.
Wait, I thought she didn't bake.
Well, she would make a cake like twice a year.
Oh, okay. So she still had that. So it is still a grandma skill, just in the back of her head.
Yeah, yeah. But she wasn't the kind that, like constantly make, like I bake way more than she ever did. Like
Yeah.
I'm always making like cookies and yeah, I gave you some of that vegan cornbread that I made.
I ate it in one bite.
You did. It
No, it was really good.
yeah, I like challenging myself to make things. I didn't have to make it vegan, but I did because I could do whatever the
It's
fuck
still
I want.
really good. Whatever recipe you got that from, I highly recommend.
Ah, maybe I'll share it sometime.
Or you're just gonna keep it a secret and use it for your grandma brain.
We'll see. I had to be a grandma first. We shall see.
All right, so check out the show. It's Nailed It on Netflix. It's got about 6 seasons on it right now,
Not
or
a
6 episodes
sponsor.
on it. Not a sponsor, but fun show to watch.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out our website, uncouth-tangents.com. You can see our old archived episodes there, as well as go to our YouTube page. You can like and subscribe there and see our power hours and all our other fun videos there. All right, we'll see you later.
Bye-bye, you lovely people.
You are all beautiful cakes.
Stop biting my style.
What?